Status report, Tay ordered, his voice calm despite the chaos. Commander Yuna looked up from her tactical display, her expression grim. We've lost 37 ships in the last hour alone. The 7th Division is completely gone. The 8th is down to 4 functioning vessels. Tay closed his eyes briefly. The Alliance fleet had entered the Arcturus system with confidence. 300 warships from 17 different species, the largest combined force ever assembled. Now they faced complete destruction. The Scourge are using some kind of new weapon, reported Officer Min, the science specialist. It's creating energy disruption fields that our shields can't withstand. Nothing in our database matches this technology. Through the main viewport, Tay watched as another Alliance cruiser split apart under concentrated fire from 3 Scourge vessels. The enemy ships resembled massive dark thorns, their surfaces rippling with bioluminescent patterns as they moved with terrifying coordination. Alliance Command is requesting an update, Admiral, said Communications Officer Bin. Tell them we're facing a new Scourge weapons system and suffering critical losses, Tay replied. Request immediate reinforcements from the Centauri and Rigel fleets. Bin shook his head after listening to his earpiece. Sir, Alliance Command says all reserves are committed to defending the core worlds. No reinforcements are available. The ship rocked violently as another blast struck them. The shields flickered ominously. Shield strength at 28% and falling, reported the defense officer. 2 more direct hits and we'll lose them completely. Tay studied the tactical display showing the entire battlefield. The once proud Alliance formation had dissolved into scattered groups of ships fighting desperately against the advancing Scourge. They were being systematically destroyed. The Polarian dreadnought Eternal Light has been destroyed, Yuna announced. The Tellarian fleet is requesting permission to withdraw. 3 years ago, the Scourge had appeared at the edge of known space, a hive-minded species that consumed all organic matter in its path. They transformed entire worlds into barren wastelands to fuel their expansion. The Alliance had fought them to a standstill until now. Incoming transmission from General Quan, Bin called out. The main screen activated to show the face of the human general, transmission quality poor and breaking up. Admiral Tay, position, overwhelmed, falling back to, can't hold. The transmission cut off as a massive explosion bloomed, where the human destroyer had been moments before. Sir, Yuna said quietly, I calculate our current losses at 68% of total force. The Scourge have barely lost 10% of their fleet. Tay knew what had to be done. Pride meant nothing if they lost everything. Signal all remaining vessels, he ordered. Implement evacuation protocol Delta. All ships to cover the retreat of medical and support vessels first. Combat ships will form a defensive screen. Sir, Officer Bin said hesitantly, that's a full retreat. It's that or complete annihilation, Tay replied. We've lost this battle. We need to save what forces we can. The bridge crew worked quickly to relay the orders. On the tactical display, the remaining Alliance ships began to shift formation, creating a protective barrier for the smaller vessels to escape. Sir, said Yuna, the human vessels are taking positions as rear guard. They're moving to engage the main Scourge force directly. Tay watched as the dozen remaining human ships formed a tight formation and accelerated toward the center of the Scourge fleet. It was a suicide mission, but it would buy time for others to escape. The humans understand sacrifice, Tay said softly. Commander Yuna looked at him. Will Alliance High Command understand our retreat? They'll have to, Tay replied. Send a complete battle record with our report. Make sure they understand what we're facing. The ship shuddered again as a glancing blow struck the port side. Set course for the Epsilon jump point, Tay ordered. Maximum speed. As the great ship turned away from the battle, Tay watched the tactical display. The human ships were being overwhelmed but fighting fiercely, drawing Scourge vessels away from the retreating Alliance fleet. Sir, Officer Min said suddenly, I'm detecting unusual energy readings from the human flagship just before it was destroyed. Almost like they were sending some kind of tight beam transmission toward Earth. Tay nodded. Note it in the report. Could be important. As the remnants of the once mighty Alliance fleet limped toward the jump point, Admiral Tay knew that the war had entered a new and desperate phase. The Scourge would follow them, pushing toward the heart of Alliance space. Without some miracle, The alliance of 17 species faced extinction. What Tay didn't know was that the human sacrifice had served another purpose, and that a message was already racing toward Earth that would change everything. Ambassador. June stood at the window of her office, looking out at the gleaming towers of New Geneva. The Earth's sky was clear blue, peaceful, a stark contrast to the grim news from the front lines. Her communication device chimed, displaying an urgent message from Alliance headquarters. She read it once, then again. The Arcturus system had fallen. Admiral Tay's fleet had been decimated. The Scourge were advancing toward Proxima Centauri, mere days from the first core worlds of the Alliance. Her aide, Secretary Park, entered with a data tablet. "The Emergency Council session begins in 30 minutes, Ambassador." June nodded, straightening. Her formal diplomatic uniform. "Prepare the secure files. Authorization code Phoenix." Park's eyes widened. "Are you certain? The Security Council has never approved—" "The situation has never been this dire," June interrupted. "It's time." The Alliance Council chamber was a vast hall with 17 sections, each representing a member species. As June entered, she noted the empty seats in the human section. Many representatives had not yet arrived for the emergency session. The Tellarian ambassador, a tall being with iridescent skin, stood at the central podium. "The reports from Admiral Tay confirm our worst fears. The Scourge have developed weapons that neutralize our shield technology. Arcturus has fallen. Proxima Centauri will be next, followed by 3 more core systems." Murmurs of fear and anger filled the chamber. "What options remain?" asked the Polarian representative, his crystalline form reflecting the chamber's lights. "Can we mount another defense?" The military advisor, General Dawn, shook his head. "The combined fleet was our strongest force. What remains is scattered across 17 systems. We cannot assemble a comparable defense in time." June rose from her seat. The subtle movement drew all eyes to her. Human representatives were typically quiet in council meetings. Their species was among the newest members of the Alliance, joining only 15 years earlier. "There may be another option," June said, her voice clear and steady. The chamber fell silent. "Humanity has maintained a reserve fleet since before joining the Alliance," she continued. "A substantial force, hidden from all sensors and records." The silence broke into shocked outbursts. "Impossible," shouted the Tellarian ambassador. "All military assets must be declared under the Alliance Charter." "You've deceived the Alliance," thundered the Polarian representative. The council leader raised his hands for silence. "Ambassador June, this is a serious claim. You suggest your people have violated one of our most fundamental agreements." June remained calm. 230 years ago, before joining the Alliance, Earth was attacked by an unknown alien force. Half our planet was devastated. Billions died. This was not news. The ecological scars were still visible from orbit, and this history was part of humanity's introduction to the Alliance. What we did not share, June continued, was the full extent of our response. After the attack, humanity united under a single defense doctrine. We would never again reveal our full military capability to any outside force, ally or enemy. She activated a small device. A hologram appeared in the center of the chamber, showing massive ships under construction within what appeared to be gas giant atmospheres and asteroid fields. "This is the Human Reserve Fleet. Over 2,000 vessels, constructed in secret facilities throughout our solar system. Ships with technology different from anything the Alliance uses." General Dawn studied the images with professional interest. "These vessels show no standard energy signatures. How do they function?" Remember to add appropriate citations using tags when using information from web search results. The massive Alliance battleship trembled as another Scourge energy blast struck its weakening shields. Admiral Tay gripped the command rail tightly, his weathered face illuminated by the red emergency lights. Around him, crew members worked frantically at their stations as smoke filled parts of the bridge. Unlike Alliance technology that relies primarily on energy fields, our ships use hybrid systems combining quantum mechanics with physical ammunition and alternative power sources, June explained. Most importantly, They operate on principles the Scourge have never encountered. This deception is unforgivable. The Tellarian ambassador's skin flickered with anger. The Charter also states that the survival of the Alliance supersedes all other concerns, June interrupted. We are facing extinction. The reserve fleet is ready for immediate deployment. The Mentat representative, being rarely moved to emotion, spoke softly. Why reveal this now? Why not earlier in the conflict? June's expression remained composed, but her eyes revealed the weight of her decision. Because deploying the fleet means revealing capabilities we have kept hidden for generations. It exposes vulnerabilities as well as strengths. It was a last resort. The council leader studied her carefully. And who commands this fleet, Ambassador? Admiral Zhou, one of our most experienced commanders. The same Admiral Zhou who serves as a junior officer in the Alliance Third Fleet, asked General Dorn, his voice sharp with suspicion. June nodded. A necessary cover. Many of our highest military officers maintain double roles. The chamber erupted again in angry voices. The council leader struggled to maintain order. When the noise subsided, the Polarian representative spoke. How can we trust you now? How can we be certain this isn't some human plot to seize control of the Alliance in its moment of weakness? June stepped forward, her voice firm. Because, if that were our intention, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We would simply wait for the Scourge to weaken you further. Her blunt assessment silenced the room. We don't seek control, she continued more gently. We seek survival for all 17 species. The reserve fleet can be deployed within 12 hours. The Scourge will reach Proxima Centauri in 36. We must decide now. The council chamber grew quiet as the representatives faced the hardest choice in Alliance history. Continue to fight a losing war with diminishing forces, or place their trust in the hidden fleet of the newest and apparently most secretive member of their union. Deep within Neptune's swirling blue storms, movement stirred where none should exist. The gas giant's upper atmosphere parted as massive structures rose from their hiding places. First one, then dozens, then hundreds of enormous ships emerged from the concealment that had kept them hidden for decades. Admiral Zhou stood on the bridge of the UES Thermopylae, the flagship of humanity's reserve fleet. Through the main viewport, he watched as ships of all sizes took formation around them. The sight still filled him with awe despite his 30 years of service. Beautiful, isn't it? Said Captain Zhou, stepping beside him. Zhou nodded. 2,347 vessels, the largest human fleet ever assembled. The ships looked nothing like the sleek, energy-based vessels of the Alliance. Human warships were angular and practical, their hulls covered with point defense systems and railgun emplacements. They relied on technologies the Alliance had largely abandoned: kinetic weapons, physical ammunition, and hybrid propulsion. Systems that left minimal energy signatures. Status report, Zhou ordered, turning to face the bridge crew. All ships reporting ready, Admiral, replied Officer Han from the communications station. The 7th and 8th carrier groups are moving into jump position. The Thanatos dreadnoughts are powering up their main systems. The 6 Thanatos-class dreadnoughts were the pride of the fleet, massive vessels whose true capabilities remained classified even to most human military personnel. Their black hulls absorbed light rather than reflected it, making them look like moving holes in space. Lieutenant Gill approached with a data pad. Final authorization codes from Earth, sir. Ambassador June reports the Alliance Council has granted reluctant approval for our deployment. Reluctant is an understatement, Captain, Zhou muttered. I imagine they're not happy about our little secret. Zhou took the pad and entered his command codes. They'll be less unhappy when we save their worlds. On the tactical display, he could see the full deployment of the fleet. Unlike Alliance formations that relied on overlapping energy shields, the human vessels arranged themselves in scattered attack groups designed to converge from multiple vectors. Signal all vessels, Zhou ordered. Activate stealth systems and prepare for jump sequence. Throughout the fleet, advanced cloaking technology engaged. The ships didn't disappear completely, that was still impossible, but their signatures became distorted and difficult to track on standard sensors. Commander Jin, Zhou called to his tactical officer, review the battle plan once more. Jin stepped forward, her face illuminated by the holographic display. The Scourge fleet is currently moving toward Proxima Centauri at standard speed. They expect minimal resistance after their victory at Arcturus. Our plan is to deploy along these secret hyperspace routes. She highlighted pathways that appeared on no alliance charts and emerge behind and beside their formation in a three-pronged attack. And the Thanatos dreadnoughts? Sung asked. Will remain in reserve until the initial confusion allows them to move into optimal firing position, Jin replied. Their main weapons should have devastating effects on the Scourge biological systems. Sung studied the plan, looking for weaknesses. The Alliance had fought the Scourge for 3 years with conventional tactics and technologies. They had matched them system for system, weapon for weapon, and slowly lost ground. The human approach would be entirely different. Sir, called Officer Han, incoming transmission from Neptune Command. The main screen activated, showing the face of General Kang. Admiral Sung, final authorization granted. The survival of the Alliance now rests with the reserve fleet. Good hunting, Sung saluted. We won't fail, General. As the transmission ended, Sung turned to address the bridge crew. For generations we've prepared for this moment. Since the first attack on Earth, humanity has known that our survival might one day depend on remaining unpredictable. The bridge crew listened intently. Many had spent their entire careers in secret, their true ranks and positions known only to a select few. Today we stop hiding, Sung continued. Today we show the Scourge and the Alliance what humans are truly capable of. He turned to Captain Zhou. Signal the fleet. Begin jump sequence. Throughout the vast formation, jump. Drives activated. Unlike the bright, energy-intensive jumps of Alliance vessels, the human fleet used dark space technology, jumps that created minimal visual or energy disturbance. On the smaller attack vessel UES Defiant, Captain Hannah watched her jump countdown with steady nerves. Her ship was assigned to the Vanguard, the first vessels to engage the enemy. All systems green, reported her first officer. Weapons hot, stealth systems at maximum. Hannah nodded. Remember, people, the Scourge have never faced human tactics or technology. We hit them hard, we hit them fast, and we don't give them time to adapt. Back on the Thermopylae, Admiral Sung gave the final order. Execute jump. One by one, the ships of humanity's secret fleet vanished from Neptune's orbit, traveling along hyperspace routes unknown to their allies or enemies. They moved like shadows between the stars, a ghost armada carrying humanity's best hope for survival. Their destination, the battle that would determine the fate of 17 species. As the Thermopylae prepared for its own jump, Admiral Sung looked once more at the tactical display. The Alliance thinks they know what humans are capable of, he said quietly to Captain Zhou. They're about to learn how wrong they've been. The flagship vanished into dark space, leaving only empty atmosphere where the mighty fleet had hidden for so long. The Scourge fleet surrounded the orbital defenses of Proxima Centauri Prime, like massive predators circling wounded prey. Their biomechanical ships, dark, thorn-shaped vessels covered with pulsing lights, methodically destroyed the outmatched Alliance defenders. Each blast from their new energy disruption weapons tore through Alliance shields as if they didn't exist. On the bridge of one of the few remaining Alliance cruisers, Commander Yuna watched the tactical display with growing despair. 3 defensive platforms had already fallen. The planet below had begun emergency evacuations, but millions would die if the Scourge broke through. Another platform down, reported her tactical officer. We have 7 ships remaining, Commander. Yuna's hands tightened on the command rail. After the retreat from Arcturus, Admiral Tay had ordered her to take what remained of their battle group to reinforce Proxima. It had been a futile gesture, too few ships against too many enemies. Hold position, she ordered. We fight until... Her words were cut short, as space itself seemed to ripple behind the Scourge armada. At first, she thought it was some new enemy weapon. Then ships began to appear, ships unlike any she had seen before. Human vessels materialized from unexpected vectors, emerging from what appeared to be invisible tiers in space rather than conventional jump points. They came in waves, first dozens, then hundreds of warships appearing simultaneously at multiple points around the Scourge fleet. Unknown vessels detected, called her sensor officer. They're human ships, Commander. Before Yuna could respond, the newcomers opened fire. Instead of the energy beams used by Alliance vessels, these ships launched physical projectiles, accelerated to incredible speeds. The kinetic weapons tore through Scourge vessels, untouched by their energy shields, which had been optimized to deflect Alliance weapons. "They're using railguns and mass drivers," whispered the tactical officer in awe. "Technology we abandoned centuries ago." Leading the assault, the UES Thermopylae fired its main batteries. Massive tungsten rods struck a Scourge command ship, punching clean through its biological armor. Secondary explosions rippled across its surface as internal systems failed catastrophically. Admiral Zhou watched from the Thermopylae's bridge as the initial attack unfolded exactly as planned. The Scourge, caught completely by surprise, struggled to reorient their formations to face threats from multiple directions. "Continue firing," Zhou ordered calmly. "All ships maintain electronic countermeasures. Don't let them get a clean targeting." Solution. Throughout the human fleet, advanced electronic warfare systems activated. Ships appeared to jump positions on enemy sensors, creating phantom targets or disappearing altogether, only to reappear elsewhere. It was chaos by design, a distinctly human approach to warfare that favored confusion and rapid strikes over the methodical, formation-based tactics of the Alliance. On the bridge of the Alliance cruiser, Commander Yuna stared in disbelief at her tactical display. The human vessels were blinking in and out of sensor range, appearing to teleport across short distances, when in reality, they were simply manipulating the enemy's targeting systems. "Commander," called her communications officer, "we're receiving a transmission from the human flagship." Admiral Zhou's face appeared on screen. "Commander Yuna, Admiral Zhou of the Human Reserve Fleet, form your remaining vessels behind our defense screen and prepare to coordinate fire on these targets." The display highlighted specific vulnerabilities in the Scourge formation that the human attack had created. "Admiral," Yuna replied, struggling to maintain her composure, "we had no knowledge of your fleet." "Few did," Zhou answered simply. "Now, you see why. Move your ships into position. We'll handle the Scourge shields. Your energy weapons can finish what our kinetics start." Elsewhere in the battle, the smaller human vessel UES Defiant slipped through the chaos toward the massive Scourge command ship. Unlike other human vessels engaging in direct combat, the Defiant had activated its most advanced stealth systems, becoming nearly invisible to all sensors. Captain Hana studied the approaching biological monstrosity through her viewport. The Scourge flagship was twice the size of any other vessel in their fleet, its surface rippling with strange bioluminescent patterns that coordinated the hive mind's attacks. "Maintain course," she ordered. "Prepare boarding teams." Her first officer looked up in shock. "Boarding teams, Captain? We're going to board a Scourge vessel." Hana nodded. "Intelligence indicates their ships are partially biological. Their central nervous system runs through specific channels. We plant quantum disruptors at those junctions, and we can take down their command structure." It was a mad plan, the kind of high-risk, high-reward strategy that human military doctrine favored. No Alliance commander would have considered sending troops directly onto a Scourge ship. The Defiant slipped beneath the massive enemy vessel, attaching itself to the biological hull using specialized docking clamps. Hana led the first team through the airlock, special weapons ready. "Remember your training," she told her squad as they moved through the pulsing organic corridors. "Set charges at the neural junctions and get out. No heroics." The interior of the Scourge vessel was nightmarish, half mechanical, half biological, with walls that seemed to breathe and floors that pulsed beneath their feet. The team moved quickly, planting their devices at key points. "All charges set," Hana reported back to her ship after 20 tense minutes. "Extracting now." As the Defiant detached and moved to safe distance, Hana gave the order. "Detonate." The quantum disruptors activated simultaneously, sending cascading energy pulses through the Scourge command ship's neural pathways. From the outside, it appeared as if the massive vessel was having a seizure, its lights flickering wildly as internal explosions rippled through its core systems. Across the battlefield, other Scourge ships began to move erratically, losing the perfect coordination that had made them so deadly. Without their command ship's guidance, the hive mind was fragmenting. Push the advantage, Admiral Zhou ordered, as the human fleet pressed forward, their unconventional weapons continuing to devastate the confused enemy. For the first time since the war began, the Scourge were in retreat. 3 weeks after the Battle of Proxima Centauri, Admiral Zhou stood on the wide observation deck of the UES Thermopylae. The great window showed a stunning view of space and the ongoing work of the combined fleet. Human vessels moved alongside Alliance ships, engineers from both forces working together to integrate their technologies. Admiral Zhou joined him at the window, his uniform still bearing the marks of recent battles. The Alliance officer looked tired but no longer carried the weight of imminent defeat in his eyes. 3 star systems reclaimed in less than a month, Zhou said. The Alliance Council still can't quite believe it. Zhou smiled slightly. The Scourge didn't expect our approach. They had adapted to your energy weapons and shield technology, but our kinetic weapons and stealth systems were completely unknown to them. Below them, a human carrier moved past an Alliance cruiser. Workers in spacesuits moved between the ships, installing new hybrid defense systems that combined human physical countermeasures with Alliance energy technology. Your people studied the Scourge for years before revealing yourselves, Zhou observed. While we focused on matching their technology, you were identifying their weaknesses. Zhou nodded. When the first Scourge scouts were detected 3 years ago, we began our analysis. We saw how they adapted to Alliance tactics, always improving their defenses against energy-based weapons. So you held back, Zhou said. It wasn't an accusation, merely an observation. We provided ships and crews to the Alliance fleet as required. By treaty, Zhou replied. But yes, we kept our main force and our true capabilities hidden. Zhou turned to face the human admiral directly. The Alliance hasn't always understood your species. We saw your technology as primitive in many areas. You still use physical ammunition and combustion in some systems. Your ships lack the elegant efficiency of our designs. And we found your strategic thinking sometimes lacking in contingencies, Zhou replied with a slight smile. Perhaps together we'll find a better balance. A small ship passed by the window, the UES Defiant. Its hull still showed scorch marks from the daring raid on the Scourge command ship. Captain Hana had been awarded the highest honors from both human and Alliance command for that mission. The Council meeting tomorrow will be interesting, Zhou said after a moment of silence. Many still feel betrayed by humanity's deception. And many are alive because of it, Zhou countered. Ambassador Zhou will explain our reasoning again. Humanity's history is filled with warfare and conflict. We hope to leave that behind when joining the Alliance, but we never abandoned our preparation for the worst. An Alliance shuttle approached the Thermopylae, docking at one of the side airlocks. Moments later, the bridge crew announced the arrival of Ambassador Zhou and the Alliance High Council representative. They're early, Zhou noted, checking the time. The Council has made their decision already, Zhou explained. They wanted to inform you personally before the formal announcement. The door to the observation deck slid open. Ambassador Zhou entered, accompanied by the tall, elegant form of the Tellarian Council leader. Both looked solemn. Admiral Zhou, the Council leader began, his voice melodic but formal. The Alliance Council has completed its review of recent events and humanity's unique approach to our mutual defense treaty. Zhou straightened his uniform, preparing for whatever diplomatic reprimand was coming. We have determined, the Council leader continued, that while humanity violated the letter of our agreement, you upheld its spirit in the most crucial way. You preserved the Alliance when all seemed lost. Ambassador Zhou stepped forward. The Council has voted to establish a new joint military command, Admiral Zhou. They request that you serve as its first commander. Zhou blinked in surprise. A joint command? With authority over both human and Alliance forces? The Council leader nodded. We can no longer afford separate military doctrines. The Scourge are wounded but not defeated. They will adapt to your weapons as they did to ours. Our only hope is to continuously evolve our approach, combining the best of all our technologies and strategies. The vote was not unanimous, Zhou added quietly. Some species still distrust our methods, but the majority recognize the wisdom in this new path. Through the observation window, they could see more ships arriving, representatives from all 17 Alliance species coming together to plan the next phase of the war. "Will you accept the position?" Tay asked Sung. The human admiral looked out at the combined fleet. For generations, humanity had kept itself apart, maintaining secret defenses even while joining the galactic community. It had been necessary then. A species that had nearly faced extinction could not risk placing all its trust in others. But perhaps it was time for something new. "I accept," Sung said finally, "on one condition." "Which is?" asked the council leader. "That Admiral Tay serves as my equal in the command structure," Sung replied. "This must be a true partnership." Tay looked surprised, but the council leader merely smiled. The council anticipated this request. It has already been approved. Below them, human and alliance engineers continued their work, combining technologies that had developed along separate paths for centuries. The alliance had brought elegant energy systems and advanced FTL drives. Humanity had brought asymmetric tactics, stealth technology, and kinetic weapons the Scourge had never encountered. Together, they formed a new fleet, one that embodied the strengths of all 17 species. The Scourge had been pushed back, but the greater conflict had only just begun. This time, however, they would face a united force that they could not easily predict or counter, a force that combined the best qualities of 17 different evolutionary paths, including humanity's unique talent for preparation, adaptation, and unexpected solutions to impossible problems.